it's not just that Joe Biden's policies are unpopular. It's that Joe Biden personally is unpopular. And he's unpopular really since Afghanistan. After Afghanistan, it became clear that this was not your kindly old grandfather who had your concerns at heart, Uncle Joe. It became clear that he is, in fact, a venal and malicious elderly man who is not in full control of his faculties, and he has done nothing to disabuse Americans of this. And now, as more information emerges about just how corrupt he is, things are about to get a lot uglier. So according to the UK Daily Mail, Joe Biden agreed to pay son Hunter's legal fees for his deal with a Chinese government-controlled company, emails reveal. This revelation ties the president even closer to Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings and makes his previous claims he never discussed them with his son even less plausible. Joe was able to pay the bills after earning millions of dollars through his and his wife's companies after he left office as vice president. Some of the wave of cash came from their book deals and speaking engagements, but the president's financial filings reveal he declared almost $7 million more income on his tax returns than he did on his government transparency reports, an analysis by the Daily Mail of the president's financial record shows. Some of that difference can be accounted for with salaries earned by First Lady Jill Biden and other sums not required on his reports, but it still leaves $5.2 million earned by Joe's company and not listed on his transparency reports. The missing millions, combined with emails on Hunter's abandoned laptop suggesting Joe would have a 10% share in Hunter's blockbuster deal with the Chinese, raise a rather troubling question. Did Joe Biden receive money from the foreign venture? In January 2019, Hunter's assistant Katie Dodge wrote an email to bookkeeper Linda Shapiro, no relation, and Biden aide Richard Ruffner, saying Joe had agreed to pay his hundreds of thousands of dollars of bills. I spoke with Hunter today regarding his bills. It's my understanding that Hunt's dad will cover these bills in the short term as Hunter transitions in his career. The assistant attached a spreadsheet of bills with the email totaling $737,000. So that's Joe paying the legal fees for Hunter. But he had no idea at all what Hunter Biden was doing. They were completely unrelated. They had no clue. One of the last items was $28,000 in legal fees for the restructuring of Hunter's joint venture with the government-controlled Bank of China. The spreadsheet listed the bill as Fager Baker Daniels BHR restructuring. BHR, Bohai Harvest RSD, is a private equity firm, one of Hunter's two major Chinese business ventures. That joint venture was co-owned by the state-controlled Bank of China. Hunter's personal attorney, George Masires, is a partner at Fager Baker. A separate October 2018 invoice from the law firm shows Hunter spent $68,000 on the restructuring beginning September 2016. The same year Joe took on these bills from Hunter, he promised, quote, "No one in my family will have an office in the White House, will sit in on any meetings as if they are a cabinet member, will in fact have any business relationship with anyone that relates to a foreign corporation or a foreign country." Yet not only did Hunter hold on to his 10% share of BHR through 2021, confirmed by White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki last February, the emails also indicate Joe knew about it and even agreed to pay Hunter's legal fees for the firm. The bills also include $413,000 in unpaid taxes dating back to 2015. The New York Times reported earlier this month Hunter had taken out a $1 million loan to pay his delinquent tax bill. Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson said Joe Biden's unaccounted for millions are another disturbing piece of information that raises questions that deserve answers. Well, yeah, you would think. When the President of the United States can't explain where he got all this money from. I mean, remember, he bragged for years he was the poorest member of Congress. He bragged for years, I'm one of the politicians who has not made a fortune, yet he owned houses all over the place. And then immediately upon leaving office, suddenly he's reporting tens of millions of dollars of income. It's a little suspicious, is it not? And meanwhile, Hunter is just going around picking up bags of cash for being a drunk, drug-addicted derelict. Like that's an interesting move. Well, in office, Joe had a relatively modest income, says the Daily Mail. He enjoyed a flood of millions of dollars soon after he left office, most of which came from his memoir book deal and eye-watering speaking fees. Between 2017 and 2019, he and First Lady Jill Biden reported $16.5 million in gross income on their federal tax returns released by the Biden campaign. The government in ethics filings for the same period, Joe only reported $9.6 million in income for himself and his wife. So where is that gap emerging from? They're saying that some of the gap was probably because Jill taught community college. That's right. A $7 million gap can be attributed to Jill Biden teaching occasionally at Northern Virginia Community College, one of our nation's great institutions of higher education. A comparison of the income reported by Joe shows a difference of almost $5.2 million, which remains unaccounted for. Pretty impressive stuff here. So we also know, by the way, that Hunter Biden's business partner, while Joe Biden was vice president, visited the White House something like 19 times and met with Joe Biden in the White House. So here is Jen Psaki saying she knows nothing about it. I know nothing.
Does the president still maintain that he never spoke with his son about his business dealings? And given this reporting on Eric Schwerin, does he also say that he has never spoken to his son's business partners about his son's business dealings?
He maintains his same statements that he's made in the past. I would say, I know you're referring to Waves records that were released more than 10 years ago. I really don't have more detail or information on them. I'd note that there was a gap when Waves records were not released, but I don't have more information about visits from more than 10 years ago.
No information at all. Interesting. Probably we should suppress the story. Probably. By the way, just a note here, Hunter Biden is one of the worst people on earth. I mean, Hunter Biden is just a bag of human garbage. He's terrible. New York Post reporting today, quote, Hunter Biden desperately insisted his brother's widow, Haley Biden, get screened for HIV as their torrid affair cooled off in the summer of 2018. Biden, 52, implored Haley to be tested for HIV in an email sent to Beau Biden's widow, July 27, 2018, about a month before he fathered an out-of-wedlock child with former stripper London Roberts. You need to inform me of the results, Hunter wrote in an email found on his abandoned laptop. Today, I'm getting tested. Today, I've been scared sick, Haley, and you hang up on me. He says, the love you give is so disturbing. The all caps subject line was, you need to get tested for HIV, Haley. And then he went on to ask Haley to stop the BS regarding his niece, accusing his sister-in-law of trying to turn the young teen against him. And he called her behavior sick and disturbing. So he is the smartest person that Joe Biden personally knows. I mean, Joe Biden must not know very many people. We're in a battle for the culture and for our values. Like and subscribe to help keep our videos on the front line of the fight and top of your feed.